Yes, sir. Here we go again. Here we go again. What's going on, guys? Sorry, as soon as I get on, then I get a little thirsty. Had to grab a bottle of water. But we're here. We are here. You see the title, you see the thumbnail, you know what we're talking about tonight. We're going to get right into it. Now, after the first debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, Donald Trump was picking up a lot of momentum. Joe Biden embarrassed himself. Then there was the assassination attempt, which Donald Trump not only survived, but used to his advantage to further distance himself from Joe Biden and gain even more momentum. Joe Biden was therefore, due to these facts, forced from running, pushed out against his will, because mind you, up until literally the Sunday before he announced that he was dropping out, he was yelling, telling everyone who would listen, read my lips, I will not drop out of this race. But he was forced out of the race because it was shown to him that his loss was inevitable. And Kamala Harris was pushed to the forefront in his stead. Now, a lot of people were saying because of all the obvious flaws with Joe Biden, considering his health, his mental uh, acuity or lack thereof, his elderly age, his dementia, what seems like dementia, it was obvious that he was going to lose. But by switching to Kamala Harris, that did effectively reduce some of Donald Trump's momentum. Because instead of talking about the assassination attempt, which didn't happen very long ago, mind you, it didn't happen long ago for people to have moved on this quickly. Instead of talking about a former US president and the front running Republican candidate being shot in the face, instead of news cycles covering that 24/7, that momentum was halted and the attention was turned to Kamala Harris replacing Joe Biden. Okay, that's shifting the momentum. But a lot of people, their knee jerk reaction to this was, yeah, well, Kamala hasn't really done anything recently. She wasn't a stellar vice president. She didn't do well when she was running in 2020. The black community, the foundational black American community, vetted her and found her wanting because she, in the words of 21st century philosopher Kendrick Lamar, is not like us. We noticed that she was not like us, and we noticed her record of as prosecutor in California, and we found no camaraderie in her in 2020. But the mere fact that Joe Biden had dropped out of the race, and now we have a younger, healthy, intelligent, seemingly, arguably intelligent, she is an attorney, former prosecutor, intelligent, young, black woman, that did shift some of that momentum which Donald Trump was riding, shift the news cycle, shift the eyes, shift the attention towards the Democratic side. All right? It was effectively a reset. It was effectively a reset because all the campaigns, all the demonization, all the arrows that Joe Biden was taking for being elderly, none of that applies to Kamala Harris. So now we have to judge her on her own merit. Folks' knee jerk reaction was a lack of excitement for Kamala Harris. But, but, when we see situations when we see situations like this, when we see situations where young black women are being killed in their homes, we see situations where police officers are entering young black women's homes and shooting them after they called for help. This is more momentum towards the Democratic side. This is more momentum. This is shifting momentum. Okay? Let me tell you something. Donald Trump has and had a lot of momentum when he was facing Joe Biden. But this thing, you keep playing with fire, this race might come closer than you think. Now, of course, anyone who's been watching this channel, I am not a fan of the Democrats. I think that they are undemocratic. They've stolen democracy from their own voters, if you ask me. But when we see members of the state, folks with the badge and backing of the U.S. government, get called for help, enter someone's home and gun down unarmed, innocent black women in their own homes, we see the person running for president saying, if I'm elected, I'm going to grant immunity to police officers. Now we start talking about some policies that are going to interest the young folks, interest black folks, and shift some of that momentum that Donald Trump was riding. Okay, when it was just Kamala Harris running, all right, her by herself, that slowed the momentum from Donald Trump, because now we're shifting away from Joe Biden. That's a bit of a reset. But when you have situations like this, and we have the young woman's father getting on national television talking about, this isn't just a shame on that officer, Sean Grayson. This is a shame on the county. This is a shame on the sheriff. This is a shame on the country. And the front running Republican president is talking about, I want to grant him immunity. I want to grant police officers, folks that look like folks that do young, innocent black women dirty in their homes on camera and have the nerve to plead not guilty. I'm going to give them immunity. All right, now you got some momentum shift. Now you've got some momentum shift. Now you're talking about some policies that just might wake some folks up. Okay? Now, not only do we have a contrast as Kamala Harris being a prosecutor, a young black woman herself, who is pushing, in contrast to pushing immunity for police officers, she's pushing defund the police, right? When you start talking about parallels, Donald Trump's talking about immunity for all police officers. Kamala Harris is talking about defund the police. Now we've got some division here. Folks are finding something they can vote for. Joe Biden, see, he was a white man who had the crime bill. People weren't looking for Joe Biden to help out black folks or be hard against police officers that kill unarmed black folks. But Kamala Harris, as a black woman, and you keep getting situations like what happened to Sonya Macy, now you've got some momentum. But it's not just going to be black women that decide. It's going to be women in general. Because the only issue isn't police brutality here. Mind you, we're coming off the heels of Roe v. Wade being overturned. So Roe v. Wade is going to be a big motivator for women as well. Roe v. Wade doesn't much interest or motivate men to the polls because it's not a right that we have in the first place. We were told as men, hey, my body, my choice. If you're not a woman, don't stay out of it. If you're a woman, it's not your uterus. Why are men making laws for that affect women? This is what we were told. So hey, Roe v. Wade being overturned as a man, that's not motivating me. That's none of my business as far as I'm concerned. That's none of my business as far as I'm concerned. But for the women, Roe v. Wade being overturned, thanks to the Supreme Court justices that Donald Trump chose, Roe v. Wade being overturned again is going to motivate a lot of women to the polls, a lot of women to vote. Now keep in mind already, not only are women going to be more motivated in this election, thanks to situations like what we saw with the black women, of course, are going to be motivated thanks to situations we saw with Sonia Macy and situations with Roe v. Wade. But already, women are more likely to vote in the first place. Now, this article is coming from the Center for American Women in Politics. All right. We're going to check out some of this article. As always, I've got clips and I've got videos that we're going to check out. But I want to get into this article just to kind of explain my point here when I say women are going to be the ones to make this decision. Women are going to be the deciding factor in the 2024 election. Now, the article reads, Gender Differences in Voter Turnout. Voter turnout refers to the proportion of eligible voters who cast a ballot in an election. Women have registered and voted at higher rates than men in every, let me highlight this. Women have registered, not only registered, but voted at higher rates than men in every presidential election since 1980. Okay? Women have registered and voted at higher rates than men in every presidential election since 1980. 2024 will be no different. Let me assure you, 2024, the first time we have a quote unquote black, let's just say for the sake of fairness and accuracy, a melanated a melanated woman, they call them a melanated woman, a woman with melanin in her skin, is running as a presidential candidate, the leading frontrunner for the Democratic Party. Now, we saw in 2020 when Hillary Clinton lost to Donald Trump. Excuse me, I said 2020. 2016, when Hillary Clinton lost to Donald Trump. Women were devastated. They had marches the next day, women's march. Women were out in the thousands protesting the fact that Hillary Clinton lost to Donald Trump. That was 2016. There are a lot of women who are alive and can remember that. Women were upset. They were not happy about that. Now Hillary Clinton lost, but here you have a situation where you've got a second chance. Women have a second chance, and right now the women have a second chance to win. And when we see situations like I said with Sonia Macy, you start motivating the base of the Democratic Party. You start having black men join that, and black folks get united behind Kamala Harris. That's not happening right now. But momentum is building in that direction when we see stuff like what happened with Sonia Macy. Don't let excitement spread within the black community, men and women. Don't let that happen. Right now, black men are still, we're not so excited about Kamala Harris because Roe v. Wade doesn't motivate us, which is a driving factor besides the identity politics of she's a woman. Roe v. Wade is a unifying factor as far as women, the female vote But then when you add situations like what we saw with Sonya Macy and Sean Grayson, now involved in getting a lot of that base, that Democratic base, some excitement, some movement, some momentum. So women have already been registering and voting at higher rates than men in every presidential election since 1980. With the turnout gap between women and men growing slightly larger with each successive presidential election, meaning the gap is just getting wider and wider. Women already vote at higher rates than men, and every election, the gap gets wider. They vote in higher droves and droves more. Okay? So this is why I'm saying women are going to decide the 2024 election. But like I said, it's not going to be just the black women. It's going to be a lot of those middle of the country, Ohio, Utah, the swing states, those middle America voters, those obese white women out there in Iowa, in Illinois, right? Now, in 2016, they didn't go for Hillary Clinton. The jury's still out whether or not the white women, because white women aren't necessarily going to be motivated by seeing Sonya Macy get killed. That's not necessarily going to motivate a lot of these white women out here. That's going to motivate black women and a lot of black men, but not necessarily the white woman vote. Y'all check this out. This is an interview, a panel that they had on yours, you already know, MSNBC, of some white female voters. They selected this group with the assumption that this is resembling the greater feelings of white America. Y'all check this out. Hold on. Bada bing, bada boom.
Harris as the nominee dramatically changes Donald Trump's odds of winning?
I'm worried about it.
Yes.
I think she's going to go for the minority and female and younger voters.
Progressive.
Everybody's excited about her,
Right.
and that scares me. You know, because Trump has to reconfigure.
She said they're excited about her, and that scares her. Okay.
Where he's going, and how they're going to outsmart her.
How do you perceive Vice President Harris compared to President Biden in terms of competency and experience?
I think she's worse. She doesn't even know what's going on at the border.
Right.
And that's what
She was supposed to be doing.
and in charge of. I mean, as a school teacher, if I did not do what I was supposed to be doing, you better believe my job would be in jeopardy. Well, it isn't. It not only was her job not in jeopardy, she was just handed a promotion.
Is there anyone that Kamala Harris could appoint as her vice president that you would find reassuring? Would make you consider voting for her?
No. Never considered voting for her. No. I know RFK Jr. way before her.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And she's not the first woman to run for the presidency. Hillary Clinton, I'm assuming no one voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. So it's not necessarily going to sway you to vote for a woman in office. When do you think America will have a female president?
When there's a competent one.
I don't get a good feel for her.
I think she's an idiot.
Right. Mary, why do you think that she's not that bright?
Because she hasn't done anything in the time that she's had. We don't know anything about her as far as her 3 years so far in the White House. She's not real smart. That's my opinion. It could be wrong.
If Vice President Kamala Harris wins the election, do you think that will be an honest result?
No. No one respects her.
So Harris.
Now, sorry about that, guys. No, she said a lot. They said a lot there. They said a lot there that I could touch on. Let's start. I don't even know where to start to begin. So one of the last things that she said was, if Kamala Harris is elected, do you think that would be a fair result? And a lot of people have been making comments about this. I wanted to touch on that very briefly. So a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, they're lucky that Donald Trump, the shooter, missed, because if Donald Trump was assassinated, that would have been civil war. It would have caused a civil war in America." And now a lot of folks, even some politicians, are saying, if Donald Trump loses, that's going to cause a civil war in America. That's what a lot of these pundits, that's what a lot of people are saying right now. And I want to address that. That is not going to happen. If Donald Trump would have died that day, and I'm not wishing death upon him or anything of that nature, but if the shooter had been successful, civil war where? Civil war where? People still got to go to work tomorrow. People still got to pay their rent, their mortgages. People got food that they got to buy. People still got to provide for their families, for their kids. If Donald Trump was to be shot, again, not wishing upon him, but we're not having a civil war, not in D.C. You think people are going to skip work, call out from working at the dentist office, working at the barber shop, working at the convenience store, working at Target, Whole Foods, Walmart, working in tech, working at the hospital? You think people are going to call off work and do what? Start shooting police officers? What is your vision for this civil war that we would have erupted into if Donald Trump would have died? It would have been a sad day. Sure, yes. People would have protested. Granted, yeah, for sure. But civil war? Nah, nah. Who's participating? Black people not going to be out there participating in civil war because Donald Trump died. You think black people going to get involved in that? No. So who do you think is participating in this civil war if Donald Trump died? And the same thing applies. The same thing applies to if Donald Trump loses. Will Donald Trump admit that he lost? Probably not. Probably not. Donald Trump has to pray that he wins, because if he doesn't, don't think that these prosecutions are over with. They're not done. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Sentencing for those felonies still haven't been handed out. They're not done chasing Donald Trump. If he does not win, Donald Trump is not going to concede. But civil wars, we're not erupting in a civil war over it. The people will probably protest for a couple days, 2 weeks max. After that, all those MAGA folks are going back to work. They still got to work in security at Walmart. They still got to work in the police departments. They still got to go back to doing their construction jobs. They still got to go back to living their lives, providing for their families. They're not having no civil war over Donald Trump losing or Donald Trump getting shot. Let's get that clear. So they try to put out this fear monger. Oh, be careful. If Donald Trump loses, those folks are going to be angry. It's going to be a civil war. Is it civil war where? Not in D.C., not in Atlanta. Where? Not in L.A. Where do you think that folks are going to be taking up arms against the government? What city are you talking about having this? What city are random folks just going to start shooting the police over? No, no, not going to happen. Tell me who you think is participating. Who do you think is participating? Mind you, when the Civil War actually did occur, it was several states which had militias. It was effectively its own government, the Confederate government. So that would mean that the police, the National Guard, the army members, military members would be fighting against the military members of the North. This is what happened in Civil War. This is what happened in the real Civil War. It was the North versus the South, two governments. What government? How do you see the government fracturing into civil war? What members of the military who took the oath that I took to uphold the Constitution from all enemies, both foreign and domestic, are going to go against that oath, go against the Constitution, and fight because Donald Trump lost? That whole Civil War ode is going to be Civil War if Donald Trump was assassinated or if Donald Trump loses. That's hyperbole. That's cap. That's cap. But let me tell you something. It's going to be the women. It's going to be the women who decide this election. Women turn out. Women turn out at higher rates than men, and the division, the options that are on the table affect women more so than men. The contrast between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are made most obvious. Some of the biggest policy differences. The policy differences. The most evident policy differences would be that of Roe v. Wade, whereas Kamala Harris would codify Roe v. Wade. Donald Trump is going to leave it at the state level. So Roe v. Wade is a big issue and it's a big motivating factor for women, not necessarily for men. Women wanting the first female president, that might be a big motivating factor for a lot of women. Rightfully so. I can't blame women for wanting to see a female president. They already had their chance in 2016 and they missed it. And a lot of folks are upset about that. When they see the policies, when they saw the division that occurred thanks to Donald Trump, and you see events like January 6th happening under Donald Trump's watch, when we see things like 2020, and yeah, we can't put all the blame of 2020 on Donald Trump, but at the same time, President Barack Obama put in place safeguards to prevent a global epidemic. Let's not forget that. That might have to be a video in and of itself. Barack Obama, when Barack Obama was in office, he put in a whole department. He had a whole department which he created to oversee and prevent global pandemics. As soon as Donald Trump was elected, he dismantled that department. So while we can't put all of 2020 on Donald Trump, he does hold some blame for the fact that it was able to spread to America when it was in China. Mind you, I was living in China in 2020, so I saw this firsthand. COVID didn't affect America really until March of 2020. Whereas China, I was living in Beijing in 2020. So I saw China was shut down already in February. They were already aware of COVID since 2019, truth be told. November, December of 2019 is when the news first hit of this new coronavirus. So truth be told, the way that Donald Trump failed to prevent the spread of COVID getting to America, he has to hold that. He has to hold that. But a lot of folks, a lot of women believe that Hillary Clinton could have done a better job than Donald Trump. And she never had the chance. So women are going to decide this one. In 2016, because mind you, women turn out in higher rates than men. If it was 45, 46 presidents that were all female, and you got your first chance at a male president, I think men are going to be pretty motivated, especially when the female president is saying we can't control our bodies, aka Roe v. Wade. So it's gonna be a show. Are women going to be on code? Are they going to be unified in their backing of an eligible female candidate? Are black folks, black women, and really black men as well going to fall in line behind Kamala Harris when we see situations like this? Sonia Macy getting shot down in her own home. The Republican president talking about, I'm going to give immunity to all the cops. I'm effectively giving immunity to all the cops. That's Donald Trump's plan. Whereas Kamala Harris is talking about the George Floyd legislation. Yeah, it didn't pass under Joe Biden, but who's to say it wouldn't pass under Kamala Harris? Hmm? Now, as y'all know, I'm not voting Democrat because I believe it's bigger than the candidate. I believe that the Democratic Party has stolen democracy from the American people and specifically the Democratic voters. I think the way that they cheated Bernie Sanders in 2016, they cheated him again in 2020, they cheated RFK in 2024, effectively canceling the primaries, handing it to Joe Biden. And truth be told, let me put my tinfoil cap on. I think this was their plan from the beginning. Truth be told, I think they knew that Joe Biden wouldn't be able to make it all the way to election day, to November 2024. I think they knew that he would be exposed in his first debate, in any debate in the general election. And I think they were just pushing out the competition, i.e. RFK, and having Joe Biden hold and stall. That way they could switch him at the last moment and use that as a shift of momentum. I think this was all part of their plan because they knew that Joe Biden wouldn't be able to make it. They knew Joe Biden would be exposed. If the entire country and the entire world saw the first debate, we saw his mental decline. You think the people working intimately with him hadn't noticed anything over the past 4 years? We weren't blind. We've been calling this out for years. We've been calling out Joe Biden's mental decline for years. You think the people working closest with him they were oblivious? They didn't notice when the American people could see, even when they're limiting his exposure to the public? They knew. But they didn't want the American people to exercise their right to vote. The Democratic Party didn't want us to exercise democracy. So the same way they cheated Bernie Sanders, they cheated RFK in 2024, and they said, okay, what we're going to do, we're going to keep Joe Biden stall, and we'll switch him at the last minute, and hopefully, wishing a prayer, we can get a black female president. I think they stole democracy. I think they stole the choice. They took the choice from us. And I think they have to be held accountable for that. And I don't think they can be held accountable by supporting. We can't support a system. Let me speak for myself. I cannot add legitimacy to a system that I can see is obviously wrong, working against me, stealing my choice, stealing my democracy that they're supposedly promising. I can't hold that system up as legitimate. At least on the Republican side, there's a lot of Republicans that don't like Donald Trump. But you know what? They didn't steal their voters' choice. In 2016, in 2020, and now, there's a lot of mainstream Republicans that do not like Donald Trump. Let's not get it twisted. Let's not get it twisted. A lot of Republicans, mainstream Republicans, were embarrassed by what happened in January 6th and do not claim Donald Trump as their representative. But you know what? They're not going to steal or go against the wishes of the base, of the people. And the people, the voters, have decided that Donald Trump is their man. The Republican Party's voters decided that they're with the Make America Great Again movement. They're with that. They're with that. They like what Donald Trump has to say, and they're supporting their guy. And even though a lot of those mainstream Republicans, like Mike Pence, doesn't like Donald Trump, they're not going to rob their voters of their choice. Whereas the Democratic Party, they cancel the primaries. They take away your choice openly. RFK was running as a Democrat. They said if you step foot in New Hampshire, all of your delegates go to the president. They just changed the rules arbitrarily to prevent him from looking for votes. Just change the rules arbitrarily. Just outright canceled the primaries in Florida and a host of other states. Just outright canceled it. Yeah, this year we're not going to have any primaries in Florida. What? This is the party that's saying democracy is on the ballot? What? Yeah. Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. So I, myself, as a male who isn't necessarily motivated by Roe v. Wade, I don't think I'm not motivated for this one. I cannot support that party. But it's not going to be up to me. It's not going to be up to me. It's going to be to those who turn out in droves. Those who turn out in droves. The women will have to decide. Will Kamala Harris be the first female president? Time will tell. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for tonight's video. Officially, we have completed our sickle cell PSAs. So, congratulations and salute to everyone involved in the sickle cell PSA. I appreciate y'all's support. I am going to be bringing out a new. I'm going to be bringing out a new live series. You know, I play chess. So I'm going to be inviting you all to play me in chess. We've got Chess Social. If anyone has the app Chess Social, I'm going to be playing games on Chess Social, and I invite you all to play me. Invite me on Chess Social. I'm going to start having a live stream where I'm just playing chess on one screen, and we're talking and breaking down conversation. I'm actually in the process of writing a book talking about the similarities of the game of chess to life. So I'm in the process of working that book. Y'all can hold me accountable on that one because it's been a long time coming. You know, I'm a busy man. I got a lot of stuff to do. But that is a book I've started. I need to complete. So be on the lookout for that. But be on the lookout for the chess series. I'm going to make that a playlist in and of itself where I'm playing chess and talking, breaking down some life lessons that you can learn from the game of chess. So y'all be on the lookout for that. All right, guys. With that said, anyone who's made it this far in the video, I really appreciate y'all supporting and rocking with the videos. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button to support the channel. It boosts us in the algorithm, so I really appreciate that. And if it's your first time watching, smash the subscribe button for content just like this, talking about a wide range of topics from news, politics, current events, hip hop, sports, so much more. So be sure to hit the thumbs up button and smash the subscribe button. Subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.